Well, hey guys, it's Kelly and Jeremy. It's on Saturday night. We're down at Jeremy's Deer Lease, getting everything pre-prepped and ready for this weekend. Just enjoying the fire. Had a good time with the kids today. They just got done roasting some marshmallows, eating some hot dogs, and we just want to just take a chance just to kind of visit tonight. Just campfire talk. So we're glad y'all could join us, and we'll kind of see where the conversation goes. I guess first thing, Jeremy, just kind of let us know where we're at right now.
We're in Lewakey. We're east of San Angelo, west of Ballinger, over by Miles, Texas.
And y'all
Concho County.
Concho County.
Concho County right here. We've got the Concho River just to the south of us. We've got 3/4 of a mile of riverfront. Then we've got the Little Concho that comes up just to the east of us, and we've got a few parts here and there on our property. We've got plenty of water for the deer, especially with after all this rain. Pretty wet.
How many acres?
On this place, we've got right at 900 acres.
That's nice. It's what, 500?
Yeah, 500.
Well, other than this place, I know you got on here a couple years ago. Where have you hunted prior to here?
We've hunted Santa Ana a little bit. Most of our hunting's been Garden City, Glasscock County. A little bit closer to home, closer to Midland, Stanton area. That's, for the most part, that's where we've always hunted. It's been a few years back though.
So this season, you should get quite a bit of film from hunts here, and then we'll also be filming at the lease that me and my boys and my family have with a couple friends, which is up in Ash, Vermont. It's a lot smaller property. It's only 320 acres. We've got 4 consistent hunters on it. It's a little packed, but it works. It's been an okay lease.
Lots of hogs.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully we get a lot of footage of hogs. May not be so big on the whitetail program, but we definitely got the hogs.
We've got hogs here. I think they've thinned them out. The government comes in and flies the river and shoots the hogs. We had quite a bit last year. Could never get on them. They don't pattern out here. And we just checked game cameras just a minute ago, and we've got several big boars, but nothing consistent. Nothing like your place for sure.
I guess the first topic I want to talk about tonight, other than RVs, is just the passion of hunting. And we'll start with you, then I'll go next. But kind of give me your story of what got you into hunting and what got you hooked.
Wow. My dad got me into hunting. I was probably 11. We went to uncle's places. We didn't have anything consistent. Day leases. And then we got that place on Garden City a couple of years after that. And it was a every weekend trip. If it was hunting season, we were there. We rifle hunted. We didn't get into bow hunting until a couple years back. My dad, unfortunately, he doesn't hunt. He loves to shoot deer with the camera, but he won't pull the trigger on a deer anymore. He shot plenty in his life. But that's it. My dad, my uncles, my cousins, we for the most part grew up hunting. And now that my boy's getting old enough, he's 11 now, 10 last year when we got this place. It was just time to get him out here and get him set up, kind of be a country boy, learn to get his hands bloody. That's pretty much all I got.
For me, it was pretty much family tradition passed down. I remember hunting as early with my dad. It's probably, I gotta say 6, 7 years old probably. My earliest childhood memory was going hunting with my dad and getting in a little small turkey blind in Ballinger, Texas that looked pretty much like an outhouse. That's kind of the way it was shaped. It was a tall rectangle little house that you could put 2 people in. We just pull up there and just lay out like a line of corn. Just, a little 3-gallon bucket, 5-gallon bucket, just pour it out, hop in the blind. And me being that young, man, I would get cold, no heater, no nothing. Probably 5, 10, 15 minutes into the hunt, I would start laying down on the floor and just going to sleep. And Dad would, kind of nudge me when something came in so I could pop up and watch. But that's pretty much where I grew up hunting. Was in Ballinger, Texas. I don't think I said that well though. It was a little small place. I want to say it's about 260 acres. It wasn't real big. It was divided up into 4 sections. Had the Colorado River that ran through it, and that was the fun part. Is we would, morning hunt, come back to the little cabin, cook breakfast, and then we would go run crop hunts. And that was always fun to pull the big yellow cats and the channel cats out of the river. Go back up to the cabin, have some lunch, and then get back out in the field. It was always a family ordeal. My dad, me, when my brother got old enough, he would, he started going. My grandpa, my grandmother actually hunted. Used a 30-30 lever action Winchester. That's what she would hunt with.
Wow.
She hunted as long as she could until she got, up in age where just the weather, she couldn't handle it. My grandfather was always down there with us. My uncles, Uncle Joe, Uncle James would come. So for me, I'd have to say I was hooked probably at 6, 7 years old. It was just something I enjoyed. Some rough hunts, but definitely I think I was hooked from the start. As I got older and started having my own kids, I think the passion even for me probably got stronger. You want them to be a part of it. It's up to them if they choose to. I think my boys are still undecided if it's something that they really, really, truly enjoy, or if it's just something that they'll probably always participate in. But neither one of them have had their first kill yet either. So I'm hoping we can change that this year. But as far as being hooked, I think it was early on, part of family. What about you? I mean, what set the hook?
I guess my first kill, we were at my uncle's place, and I shot 3 deer all at once. Had a 243. My uncle let me borrow his 243. It was my granddad's 243, and he passed away 8 years before I was born. Same day I was born, and so it was pretty neat shooting a 243. Shot 3 deer. My dad couldn't believe it, sitting right next to me. It was so cold outside. I remember this. I couldn't gut the deer, my first deer. My dad sit there while I watched over him, and he gut all 3 of the deer. I had to hold the flashlight for him, and
Now,
I couldn't move my hands.
In one shot?
No,
No,
3 shots.
Oh, yeah.
Picked the biggest one and went down. We put 3 deer in the freezer that evening.
Now, was that the first time you'd ever pulled the trigger, or have you shot and missed before, or?
First time I ever pulled the trigger.
That was it, man.
First time I ever had the opportunity to shoot at a deer. So it was a doe and 2 nubbin bucks.
I was not that fortunate. As I stated earlier, I hunted with my dad from a very young age, but I didn't get a rifle in my hand until, I want to say about 11, where I actually got to shoot at a deer. And I probably missed 10 deer before I finally got it.
Yeah.
The way it was in my family is my dad wanted us to learn to shoot the old way, so you had to shoot open sight.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's one issue. when you're severely blind and nearsightedness, you can't shoot open sight. It just doesn't work. And my parents were not aware that I was blind, really, nor was I until a freshman in high school. So I hunted. Oh, how old are you when you're 11? Not how old. What grade are you in?
Fifth, sixth.
Fifth, sixth. Okay, so I probably shot all through junior high, so there's 3 seasons. My freshman year, I was having trouble in school, so they finally took me to an eye doctor, and I got glasses. I'm talking like Coke
bottles?
Coke bottle glasses. And I dropped my first deer that year. It was not a prize. It was about a 85-pound yearling.
Nice. Good eating.
You just don't know. You get excited as a kid. All I could see was the head sticking out of the brush, and pulled the trigger on a 270. And man, that sucker did some somersaults. And I realized right then and there that that thing was pretty small.
Yeah. Yep. I've been there. Yeah. Not every kid is fortunate like my son. 10 years old, first day of rifle season, first morning hunt of rifle season, and I've been trying to pattern this 8-point, 119 class 8-point, and I couldn't get him with my bow. And my son shows up first morning, 223, right in the shoulder, end of it. Ran 30 yards. He's just spoilt and doesn't know it. Bigger deer than I've ever shot, and I've been hunting for 15 years.
Yeah, it's a nice deer. We scored that thing. What was it?
119, 3/4, I think.
Sounds small, but man, it's a very nice looking rack. We'll have to do some pictures of some racks.
Around here, that's a good deer.
Yeah, neither one of us hunt in very, what we would call big buck country. I mean, it's smaller deer. We're definitely in the far end of West Texas. Drought conditions most of the time.
Yep.
There's not a lot of agriculture around, so you don't have the food plots. You don't have the high protein feed like you'll see up in Kansas and
High fences and stuff like that.
The northern states.
And you got to consider, border properties don't manage. If they shoot whatever they see walking, you're not going to get big antler growth. You're not going to get mature 5-6-year-old deer. You're lucky to get 3-4-year-old deer. So,
and it's sad. But definitely this region's that way. I mean, like Jeremy said, it's all free range, bow fence. The opportunities sometimes are there, sometimes they're not. But the biggest deer I've killed was just a few years ago, and it was a 130 class. And to me, that's a monster. That's one of the biggest deer I've ever seen. Most of mine have been in that 110, 120 range. Even down in Ballinger, where it is good deer country. But I think Jeremy hit on the good topic there, is just about managing deer. I don't think we have the management culture in this region of let them grow. I wish we did. But it's pretty much, well, that might be the only deer I see this season, so I'm going to pull the trigger, and it's a 2.5-year-old buck, or maybe 3. I've even been surprised of the doe the last couple seasons in this area. I haven't even seen a big, fat, mature doe. I'm gonna guess that they're all been 1.5 years, 2-year-old doe.
I'm hoping this year we've got some 4.5-year-old deer. We had a pretty good drought that killed out quite a bit of deer. Last year, all the decent bucks that were taken off here were around the 3.5-year, range. We had a couple young kids that shot a couple of bucks that were younger bucks, shouldn't have been shot, but first deer, you can't complain. Good little 8 points. 2.5-year-old deer, but for the most part, we didn't see any 4.5, 5.5, 6.5-year-old deer last year. So I'm hoping this year we get some 4.5-year-old deer out there, and maybe our body size of deer will continue to grow. You know, and on top of that, you know, we started feeding protein this year round. So hopefully antler growth will start growing. Give it, you know, 2 or 3 years, maybe they'll get up there. But when you've got neighbors on 3 sides of you that shoot whatever, you know, it's a gamble. It's all deer hunting is.
Yeah, this season's to be determined. Trail cameras right now are not showing hardly anything. But we live in a desert region, and this year we have had a ton of rain. I mean, just a lot of rain. Everything is green. Like where we're sitting right now was about knee-high in grass this morning before we mowed it down. Just really uncharacteristic, especially even for this time of year. We typically get our rain in, you know, the March, April, May season. And here we've kind of had kind of steady rain each month. I think we're kind of on trend as far as our annual amount. I think we may be a few inches over, but we've had, you know, kind of consistent showers each month, which has helped to keep everything green. If we don't get some really hot times to start drying this stuff out, or have a fast, hard winter that'll hit hard, which I'm not anticipating.
No, me either.
This season may be very rough, just because there's no reason for the deer to come in. And as I said, we're not hunting food plots. We do have feeders, which is just typical West Texas, but there's no reason for them to come in unless they just want dessert. I mean, there's so much food out here, so we'll keep our fingers crossed and see how the season goes. We'll kind of shift gears, and then we'll kind of make our way to the end of this segment. I don't want to have an extremely long video. I guess let's go through 3 topics. Let's do first question: what's your most memorable hunt? Second question: what is your worst hunt to date? And then just end with what we're kind of like what we're doing here with our kids this weekend. Why is it important to pass that on, the hunting tradition that we have? So I know that's a bunch to throw at you. So let me start over again, and we'll start with question 1. What was your most memorable hunt?
My most memorable hunt would have to be Garden City. First year on this place, there was 43 sections. We had a place that had if I remember right, about I think 3 sections is in the bottom of the pasture. Haven't seen a deer all year. My cousin's seen some. Matter of fact, he shot a pretty decent little 8-point. But for the most part, nobody saw deer there. We came across the rancher. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people come across this. Rancher's been seeing a big buck down where our stand is. You know, pretty good wisetail anyways. Well, we're driving in. Dad's driving this old 80 model Ford pickup, and we see this deer running, and all we see is antlers. And I jump out, and not knowing what I was doing, like I said, I only shot those 3 deer, and Dad always taught me to shoot doe in the upper neck. So I jump out, prop up on the door, again not knowing what I was doing. The deer was probably 300 yards away. I'm still shooting a 243. I aimed for the neck, upper neck, and this deer runs. Well, he stops a little while, and he takes his head down, and he brings his head back up. So I shoot again. He runs. This happens 4 rounds I put at the deer. And then he just takes off, and Dad yells at me, "Get in," and here we go across the pasture in the truck. And the deer's gone. We never found the deer. We found blood. real light, watery blood, and just a few drops, probably 200 yards, and then we lost it. It just vanished. Had my uncle and my cousin come down, and we searched for a solid day. Couldn't find it. Another uncle came down, and he helped us walk it out, and we ended up finding that buck. It was the largest 4-point deer I've ever seen in my life. 14 3/4 inside spread, 4-point, and I'd shot his esophagus.
Yeah.
I hit him once.
Yeah.
That was my most memorable hunt
Man, that's a long shot.
for a kid that had no clue that you needed to elevate your gun, you know,
Yeah.
to get it there. I had no clue.
That's how we done.
My worst hunt, I don't know. Do you have a worst hunt? I mean, if you're out hunting, it's better than being at work,
Well,
right?
yeah, it's better than worse. But I mean, I can think of one off the top of my head that was the worst. I guess think on yours, and I'll do my most memorable. Actually, my most memorable was not a hunt where I was pulling the trigger. I don't know why this one always sticks with me, but it was down at Ballinger, hunting with my dad. I was probably 9, 10-ish around here somewhere because I'm still not shooting yet. I'm just watching and learning. And yeah, I want to say Thanksgiving week after Thanksgiving, right in there somewhere, down at Ballinger. My dad gets this crazy idea of setting up a blind made out of hay bales in the middle of a CRP field. And so we, go up to the hay barn, grab the bales, and we set it up. And I mean, it is snowing hard. And we, West Texas don't get a whole lot of snow, but that was a year that was really cold, a lot of snow. Bundled up, no heaters, no hand warmers, no nothing. And man, I was miserable. I mean, 100% entirely miserable, laying on the ground, just shivering, and I'm sure I was driving my dad bonkers. I'm tired, I'm cold, I want to go, fussing and fighting. Man, he just stuck with it. And sure enough, I mean, it's just snowing. He finally sees something, and it felt like we were there for 34 hours, and we were probably only there 6, or 4. I know it was an afternoon hunt, so we probably got in, 1-ish, 2-ish probably. It was getting close to sunset, and you know how it is.